Hello and welcome into another episode of Live from the Plains. My name is Daniel Locke. This guy is Logan Fowler, and it's do or die time for the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah. Do or die. Must,
Literally.
must.
Well, I guess that even if they were to lose this game, they would still have a chance of making a bowl game mathematically, but the Tigers would have to win out.
Yeah, and that is looking like a daunting task. So yeah, I mean, a win this week, really big for um, you know the trajectory of the season. Maybe to save what's looking like a complete disaster. A win this weekend in Kentucky. This game is looking like probably um, your best chance at a conference win. But obviously, we're gonna get more into this here in a moment. So
We are. But before we get into things, I would just like to give Logan a shout out for driving me from the Auburn University library to the auto shop today to pick up my car. That was very nice of him. Hitting the road this weekend, had to get some car work done for that. So Logan didn't have to take the time out of his day to help me out, but he did. And stuff like that does not go unnoticed by Daniel Locke. So Logan, I appreciate you, brother, and thank you for everything you do. You're a good friend.
I appreciate that, my brother. No biggie, no biggie.
So, getting down to business here, Logan, you've made up some ground in this pick'em as I've gone from having a 3-game lead to a 1-game lead in the blink of an eye.
Yup. I picked Florida last week to upset Kentucky. Um, and I think that was the only one that we differed in last week, maybe.
I think so.
But yeah, I'm inching up, buddy. Season's not over yet.
No, you've made it a ball game. I'm at 58-16. Logan's at 57-17. So 1 game of separation, and it doesn't look like we have any different picks this week.
No, but I'm up in the air on some of those. So
I am too. There's some good games. Some good games this week for sure. And we're about to get into the pick 'em for this week. Just let me pull the schedule up on ESPN. Almost there. And we got it. So kicking off the SEC slate, this is 11 a.m. Central Time on ESPN. The number 18 Ole Miss Rebels are hosting the Oklahoma Sooners. Neither team has really lived up to quite what the expectations were for them preseason. Ole Miss obviously expected to be a top 10 team, almost a shoe in for the college football playoff. An unexpected loss to Kentucky and then losing to LSU. They now sit at 2 losses and are at the point where they probably would have to win out to be a playoff contender, I would say.
mhm.
Depending on how things shake out, even if they were to win out, I don't think that necessarily guarantees them anything.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty much yeah, like you said. I mean, they've got to win out here. They've obviously got a bad loss to Kentucky and Vaught Hemingway. And then remind me where their second loss came.
LSU on the road.
You on the road, correct? So yeah, um, after watching the Oklahoma game last week with South Carolina, not much hope for the Sooners. Sooner magic is gone. It ran out in Jordan-Hare Stadium. Um, just fired their offensive coordinator, Latrell. Don't know his name other than last name Latrell. So they're obviously struggling offensively. I'm going to go with Ole Miss here to win this
I'm
one.
go- Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
I'm going with Ole Miss as well. This is not the Oklahoma team that came to Jordan-Hare Stadium a month ago. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing because they didn't play particularly too great that way, and we're on the ropes. But you know, no need to keep beating a dead horse. But Auburn blew that. Wow, good thought. But yeah, a battle of two teams who really are not where they were supposed to be. Oklahoma a lot further off the mark than Ole Miss, but like you said, I'm going with the Rebels.
Yeah.
So the next game of the SEC slate, this is 11 a.m. or 11 a.m. 45. That's what I was about to say. 11:45 a.m. Central Time on SEC Network. The first of three SEC Network games this week. That tells you it's a little bit of a down week, even though there's a ranked matchup on the SEC Network. But whatever. It is the Mississippi State Bulldogs hosting the Arkansas Razorbacks. This Mississippi State team has looked putrid. Well, they did play Georgia pretty competitively.
They have. I mean, their record shows that they've been a really bad football team. They have. They've been a bad football team, but they're not. They're not shying up. They're not giving them shying away or giving up. They're still competing in every game that they play. They're just not as talented as any other team in the SEC right now. But I mean, you gotta give your gotta tip your hat to Jeff Levy for keeping them motivated, for keeping them playing. You know, as I was making my pick for this game, my first thought was, okay, Arkansas next. But then I was like, well, wait a minute. I mean, this could be an opportunity for Mississippi State to upset somebody and get a conference win this year, and I do think that this would potentially be one of their better opportunities to do that. Arkansas is the better team. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Um, I don't know if Talon Green is fully healthy. Do you know his status?
I don't know.
I mean, either way, and I can't think of the backup's name right now. I still think that Arkansas is the better team heading into this game, and I do expect them to get a win. But um, this could set up for a Mississippi State victory. I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, I would agree with what you said about this likely being their best chance for one. I took Arkansas though, like you did.
Mhm.
So moving on, a couple things about this game. 2:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC and ESPN Plus. The number 21 Missouri Tigers look to build off a comeback win over Auburn and travel down to Bryant-Denny Stadium in Tuscaloosa and go 2-0 over the state of Alabama over the last 2 weeks by beating the number 15 Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, Logan, did you have this game being a ranked matchup on your bingo card for this year? I think that was pretty reasonable. Did you expect it to be 15 versus 21?
Mhm.
No. I was thinking somewhere along the lines of 15 versus 4.
Mhm. Yeah. I
Something
mean,
like that's about what I thought.
yeah. I mean, I guess the 21 um, beside Missouri's name is not necessarily shocking to me. I didn't really think that they were a top 10 team coming into the
I
season.
didn't either. I didn't
Um,
really ever buy into that.
yeah, still think they're a very talented group. That
Sure.
offense is still very explosive, despite what you saw last week, and you did see what that offense can look like when it's at its full potential.
Yeah.
So, still a scary looking squad. Um, I mean, they're 6-1. They're finding ways to win, other than that A&M game where they got handled um, very easily. But
That's one of the more head scratching games of the SEC season so far, in my opinion.
yeah, obviously everybody's kind of crapping on Alabama right now with 2 losses already on the season. You know, people are starting to call for Kalen DeBoer's head, saying he's in too far over his head. He doesn't know what he's doing. This just isn't the same Alabama team. Um, despite all that, every game that Alabama's lost, I understand it was to Vanderbilt in one of those games. Did they look great? No. But were they in it to the end? Yeah. I mean, this team is still it's still Alabama. They still got the best players on the field on any given Saturday. Still got a pretty good home environment there in Tuscaloosa. It's I mean, I'm gonna pick Bama to win this game just strictly because of what I saw last week from Missouri. Um, I left that Auburn and Missouri game thinking that, with oh, sorry, dude, I got like a yawning problem when we get on here. Um,
It's okay. It is
it
pretty
is
late.
10 o'clock at night, so I left that Missouri and Auburn game. It kind of reassured my thought on, this Missouri team's not as good as we thought they were. Then again, it would not shock me at all to see Missouri come out on fire. Brady Cook, Luther Burden, Theo Wees. At the same time, I just think Bama's got too many dogs on the field, and I'm gonna pick Bama to win this game at home.
Yeah. Apologies in advance. I'm still dealing with a little bit of a cold, so cough, sore throat. It's rampant around here, which makes things a little bit difficult when one part of your job is being a podcaster. But it is what it is. It's quickly approaching Logan and I's bedtime, which doesn't help anything.
Hmm.
Pause. I didn't mean it like that, but whatever. Moving along. Yeah. Alabama probably going to win this game. And it's just so funny how everyone for the last 10 years knew exactly how things were going to go down for the coach that followed Saban. And it has proven to be exactly correct. The team doesn't look invincible, and these people don't know how to act, and they think it's Armageddon when they don't win a game by 30 points, that they're only favored to win by 13, and they think that they're ready to rake this dude over the coals because he coaches a game in a t-shirt.
Right.
Um,
The funny thing about Alabama's losses so far, yeah, Vanderbilt handed it to them. Okay, Vanderbilt beat them. Did Alabama play its best game that day? No, but you can't take anything away from Vanderbilt. They came out on fire and they beat Alabama straight up. Tennessee, did Alabama look good in that game? No. Like I said, they were still in it to the end, but Tennessee did not look good either. I mean, I honestly, I was kind of in and out watching that game a little bit, and I feel like just about every time I tuned in to watch Nico Iamaleava, he was missing receivers downfield. I mean, I know that I saw 4 or 5 just wide open receivers that he missed down the field. So, I mean, that's kind of what's playing into the people rioting. Is that in the Tennessee loss, they really didn't look that good, neither team. And then obviously a Vanderbilt loss is just that's just what it is. But yeah.
Yeah. So both picking Bama. Moving along, this is an intriguing matchup. I guarantee you didn't have this one being a ranked matchup in the cards. 3:15 p.m. Central Time on the SEC Network. The number 25 Vanderbilt Commodores will be hosting the number 5 Texas Longhorns. Unfortunately, I think that this is the week that the Vandy Magic runs out. However, Vanderbilt's already beaten a top 5 team at home this year. So
Number 1 team at home.
they beat the number 1 team in the country at home. You're right. And now it's just a number 5 team. A former number 1 team who didn't look great against Georgia last week, had to switch quarterbacks, and comes into this one. It's either going to be one or two ways. Texas is going to be pissed off and just go beat the brakes off Vanderbilt, or Vanderbilt's going to hang around and Vanderbilt's going to stay with them. And who knows? If Vanderbilt doesn't go away entering the fourth quarter, this could be a really, really down to the wire game.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the former. I think that
I
Texas,
am too.
and I don't really think it's I don't think it's going to be a close game.
I don't either. Moving on to the second to last game of the SEC slate chronologically, on 6:30 p.m. Central Time on ABC and ESPN Plus. A top 15 matchup between the number 14 Texas A&M Aggies hosting the number 8 LSU Tigers. I really wish I could watch this game, but I can't. I'll be at a Taylor Swift concert on Saturday night, so no football for me, but that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, what a tough game to pick. Um, I'm still gonna probably do a little researching before I come up with a solid pick here. From at least from my ESPN Pick'em group. You know, um, my gut says LSU. My gut says that LSU is the better team. Um, LSU's passing attack offensively. I'm sorry, dude. They have just been unstoppable. Garrett Nussmeier's played lights out. Arguably one of the best quarterbacks, and not arguably had the best season of an SEC quarterback. Defense is kind of showing up recently. Now, going against him in this game is that it's a night game in College Station. That's tough. Is Connor Wegman going to play like he did 2 weeks ago? Is he going to play like he did last week? I don't know. That's a tough one. Mike Elko's defense is definitely going to have, an answer for the LSU offense. It's really tough. I want to pick A&M, and I don't know, for some reason I feel like A&M might kind of come out with a win. But I do, man, it's so tough. Are you picking LSU?
I had it in there, but I just flipped it to Texas A&M.
I was about to do that. I was about to flip it to A&M. Okay, so just because you're picking A&M, I'm going to go with LSU.
All right.
I could so see an A&M victory.
Hey, that's a pick'em strategy that my sister has used for years.
Yeah, well, I mean, either I tie it up or I'm still losing, so something's got to give. So I'll just go against you for one this week. We can't have all the same picks.
That's fair. 18 minutes in, we're finally getting to the Auburn game.
Yeah. Didn't we say before this show that we wanted to keep this thing about 25 minutes?
Yeah, it doesn't look like that's happening. Oh, well. It's all right. The Auburn Tigers, 2-5, winless in the SEC, head up to the Bluegrass State, my favorite state in the Union. Did you know that, Logan?
Did not.
I'm just kidding. It's not. I hate the state of Kentucky.
All right.
To take on the Kentucky Wildcats, 3-4 in the year, 1-3 in the SEC.
Sounds about right.
I don't know. I guess I could find that out with one click of a button here. Oops, I clicked on the wrong game. 3-4. And 1-4 in the SEC. I think. Yes. We're just going to roll with that. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. 1-3.
Okay.
No, Daniel, you idiot. 1 win, 2. 1-4. Final verdict, Kentucky is 1-4 in conference play.
Breaking news. All right.
Breaking news, hot off the presses. That didn't take me 8 tries to figure it out. I'm not dog tired, and this is going very, very smoothly, and I will not entertain anything suggesting that it isn't.
There you go. Yeah, so finally in here talking a little Auburn. We mentioned at the very beginning of this show,
Do or die.
Do or die, man. Auburn's definitely will a win this Saturday change the trajectory of their season? No.
Well, Danny better hope so.
Well, yeah. Will it? No. but a win does mean a lot for Auburn. It would be their first conference win of the season, and likely their only like I said, their best chance probably at getting a conference win this season. I mean, you still got Vandy, but other than Vandy being a questionable toss up game, you're kind of looking at two losses with A&M and Alabama. So best chance to win. Kentucky's not a great football team. They don't wow you with their numbers. Their record's not going to jump off the page, but saying that, they are solid. It just really depends on what Kentucky shows up on Saturday. Are we going to see the Kentucky that played Georgia down to the wire and lost by a point? Or are we going to see the Kentucky that goes to Vaught Hemingway and beats Ole Miss? Or are we going to see the Kentucky that got blown out by Florida and Vanderbilt the past 2 weeks? So, that's it's interesting to see which Kentucky football team is going to come out. Auburn still, we are 7 games into the season for Auburn, going into 8 now, and it's the same story every single week. Can they get out of their own way and find a way to win a football game in the end? That's still up in the air. I mean, history has shown that they're not going to do that. They're not going to find a way to win. And I've repeatedly said that, a bad football team is going to find a way to lose a football game. And Auburn has found ways to lose football games. Therefore, they are a bad football team. Or maybe I should reverse that. They are a bad football team. Therefore, they're going to find ways to lose football games. Either way, lots of things, I guess, to look for in this game. I'll be quiet and let you give your takes here in a minute. But, offensively, got to take advantage of getting in Kentucky territory. Got to take advantage of red zone opportunities. Like I said on Sunday, our guy Patrick Bingham, I'm pretty sure he tweeted out on Sunday, 5 of Auburn's 7 touchdowns have come from outside of the red zone this season in conference play. And then again, offensively, slow starts. They're continuing to pile up for this Auburn football team. Only scored 10 points in the first quarter against conference opponents that come, or no, this year. They kicked a field goal on the first drive against Georgia, and then, or in the first quarter against Georgia, and then scored an opening drive touchdown against Cal, which that's not conference opponents. But needless to say, this offense has had very rough starts to a football game for the past few weeks. They've got to start the game off hot. Seeing a little bit of offensive line shuffling on Saturday. Dylan Wade's going to slide out the left tackle. Braden Joyner is going to slide in at that left guard spot. And then the rest of those positions stay the same with Connor Liu, Jeremiah Wright, and Too Tall Miller. Saw an increase in carries for Jarquez Hunter last week. Obviously, the numbers didn't necessarily reflect it, but I would expect that if Jarquez Hunter gets another 15 to 20 carries in this game, that he could definitely reach the 100-yard mark in this game. And I think that that's something that Auburn needs to do again this week, is get the ball to its best player. And then, defensively, Mark Stoops talked a little bit this week. Offense has not looked great for Kentucky the past couple of weeks. Auburn might, need to prepare for 2 quarterbacks, both Vandergriff and good grief, what is his name? Just wrote a story on him today. But the backup quarterback at Kentucky, whose name is slipping my mind right now, a little bit more athletic, a little bit more of a running threat than Vandergriff. So Auburn might be seeing 2 quarterbacks this week. And another big thing for this Auburn football team is special teams play has not been great. Towns Magoo has kind of left a lot to be desired in the kicking aspect of the game. 5 for 10 on field goals for the year. Freeze mentioned on Monday that Alex McPherson might be back on Saturday for Kentucky with field goals 35 yards and in, probably going to go in his favor. So that could be big for this Auburn team, and that's definitely something to watch as well. So I kind of just gave a whole entire overview right there while I was yapping. But if you have any different thoughts that I didn't hit on, or any different points of discussion that you would like to hit on, feel free.
Well, it's a big one for a good old Danny Hugh Freeze, man. Man, that's so funny that his first name's Danny. I don't mean that insulting the name. It's a very good name. Who would I be to criticize that name?
Right.
Love that name. It's a very good one. It means courageous.
There you go.
Yeah, or something like that. I don't know. That may have just been some BS my mom made up. I don't know. But yeah, in fact, it's probably just some BS my mom made up. It's fine. I love my mom. She's listening, probably. I don't know. But yeah, it's a big game for Auburn because you want to look competent and you want an SEC win, at least one. You don't want to go 0-9 in the SEC, even with a top 5 recruiting class, because the time's ticking on how long people will look past the results and look at everything else going on in the program, such as recruiting being up and, for the most part, players putting a good face on things going on. Like, at least that's what we get in the media. Which, you know, yeah. So I don't know. Auburn will need to be at its pretty good form to win this game. And still, same things apply. You got to get the ball to Jarquez Hunter. You cannot turn it over. And the defense needs to. It's hard. It really is kind of hard for me to ask for more from the defense than what it did last week. But still, and I know that they had been on the field an awful lot and that they were beaten down, but a 95-yard drive for a go-ahead touchdown, like, that's one where you got to find a way to keep those points off the board.
Mm-hmm. The defense, man, the defense really is. It's strange because they've given you an opportunity to win the football game every, week in and week out. The defense is giving you opportunities every time. Then again, you look at it and there's too many missed tackles. There's too many penalties. Can't get off the field on third down. And then obviously, like you just said, you've got to find a way there with a couple minutes left in the game to get off the field and get the offense the ball back to run the clock out. That also falls into getting off the field on critical downs. But it is it's like you said, it's hard to ask for more for the defense. But then again, you would like to see those elements of that of the game cleaned up for them.
Yeah. I don't think that a win or a loss does too much for Auburn. We kind of concluded on Sunday that the season's over. After the Alabama game, there's likely no postseason, and I know that in years where there aren't enough bowl eligible teams, that some 5-7 teams receive bowl bids. I don't even think Auburn gets to 5 wins, which is a little kind of sad to say. And I'm not saying that and like I'm sad about it, even though it'd be fun to cover a bowl game. But I'm saying that in the way of like that's just kind of sad. Like Wow. Like,
Yeah.
that's really where they're at.
Yeah.
It's kind of pathetic.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so obviously it'd be nice to get an SEC win because that Vanderbilt game, who knows? And if you're Auburn, you're most likely not beating Texas A&M. Earlier in the season, that game was looking like more of a toss-up, but Texas A&M is coming to their own and is looking like a pretty solid football team, ranked number 14 in the country as we speak. And then Alabama, I don't know. I mean, maybe people are right. The Bammers are right about Kalen DeBoer, and they need to run him out of town and rake him over to Coles, and things will start to fall apart. And Auburn will just luck into a good situation in that game. But the odds of that happening are slim to none.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah,
It's tough, man. It's tough.
it is tough.
Um, what are your final predictions here for this game?
I mean, I'm not picking Auburn this year probably anymore. I'll probably pick them to beat ULM, maybe. I'll have to look at it closer when the time comes. But if Auburn drops this game and drops the game against Vanderbilt and goes into that ULM game not having won a game since the 16th of September, and if ULM comes into this one off like a 3 or 4 game winning streak, it's going to be kind of hard for me to not at least consider picking ULM.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
No, I mean,
I'm definitely going with Kentucky this week.
I'm with you. I mean, I'm the same way. Um, I think Auburn's got the better football team. On It's hard to say that, but I think that Auburn is the more talented football team. Um, but you know what? I can't get all the way through this podcast without reading this tweet off. And I know you've seen it. Everybody's seen it, but I just want to read this. 27 FBS offenses average at least 6.5 yards per play this season. 29 FBS defenses allow 5 yards per play this or less this season. Only 7 FBS teams are doing both of those. Auburn is on that list. Auburn is also 2-5. The other teams on that list have a combined record of 36-4.
Dang.
Let that sink into your head for just a moment. That's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
That is wild. I mean, so when I say that Auburn's got the better football team, I do mean it. On paper, when you look at it, toss the record aside, look at this Auburn football team on the statistical sheet that's in front of you, and tell me that they don't have the better football team. But with that being said, like you just said, I mean, I'm not going to pick Auburn until that they can prove that they can find a way to win a game in the end. So, I mean, like you, I'm not predicting the future games quite yet, but Saturday, while I think Auburn's the more talented team, and deep down, I really kind of do think that Auburn can and might win this football game. I'm still going to pick Kentucky, solely because Auburn hasn't proved anything.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to add on that. I agree. I think that's about going to wrap us up tonight. We'll be back with the kind of reaction show to the Kentucky game at some point on Sunday. I need to get with Logan and figure out what works best. But yeah, I'm completely offline on Saturday after about 2:00, so I'm not going to have any type of coverage for the game on Saturday. Taking this one off. I'll have reaction stories up all day Sunday coming out. Logan, are you going to live tweet on Saturday or no?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna necessarily live tweet it, but I'll be active on Twitter. I'm not going to Lexington, but I will be covering the game from the comfort of my home.
Okay. So yeah, if you're a fan of our show and just want to follow one of our coverage, Logan's got you this week. Sorry, but I want to got to take some me time every now and again.
Taylor
Um,
Swift rules, right?
do what?
I said Taylor Swift rules.
Absolutely.
Swifty
Very,
guy.
very excited.
There you go.
So yeah, you can find my written work at Auburn Tigers on SportsIllustrated.com. You can give me a follow on Twitter at Daniel J. Locke. You can check out my Instagram at the Daniel Locke, where there will be T Swift content on Sunday. Who doesn't want to see that?
There you go. Check out my written work at 1819 News.
It's pretty good.
Also, okay.
You're welcome.
Also got some stuff coming out with the Auburn Plainsmen here on campus. And then you can give me a follow on Twitter or X at Logan F. Fowler.
Yeah. Please don't DM us stupid stuff. That's happened to me a couple times this week. Both of our inboxes are open for conversation, but please keep it respectful. And yeah, I don't want any rude DMs.
There you go.
All right. Between now and the next time, this has been live from the plains, and we will be back with you again soon.